if I was going to leave that level of consciousness, and I know this is getting deep, I was going to need to bring myself up to a higher level. Good morning, good morning. So, I posted a video, I think it was yesterday, about poverty mindset. And it just got me to thinking about a time in my life, some years ago, probably, maybe 15 years ago. And I was broke. I was broke. You know, I made some poor decisions career-wise, and I paid for them dearly. But anyway, I was broke, and I had a real poverty mindset at that time. And I remember I used to go to this supermarket, and if you're familiar with King's supermarket, it wasn't in my town, it was one town over, so it wasn't far from me. And I would go there, and if you watch the other video where I talk about my perception of white people, you know, and their lives, and how I just knew all white people were rich and they had money and they didn't have a care in the world. That was in my head. Of course, that wasn't the truth. And then I also talk about I call her my first white friend, true friend. Not to say the others weren't true, but they were more like associates, you work with them or whatever. So, yeah, I had this supermarket near me named King's, and it was what I consider, and I think King's is still around. I know in my area in New Jersey, they have closed down a couple of them, but I believe there's at least one in the general area. Anyway, King's was what I consider to be a high-end supermarket. Things that you might buy at other supermarkets were just like more expensive. They were more expensive, hands down. And like when you would go to the produce department, the fruits and vegetables, they had a different color to me. The apples and oranges, the colors were more vibrant. The apples and oranges they seemed bigger, and it was like they were just more vibrant and more, I don't know. I would go there. They would have what I thought was good deals on their meat. Like their chicken. Every now and then they would have like really good, like they would just have a sale, and it would bring the price lower than my local supermarket. So I would go there and look for their meat, and see if there were any deals. That was what brought me in the store. But honestly, whenever I went there, I would honestly feel inferior. I would feel inferior because there weren't a whole lot of people that looked like me in the store, meaning there weren't a whole lot of African Americans. It was a predominantly white neighborhood. I mean, don't get me wrong, there may have been one or two here or there, but the store in general was not predominantly African Americans. It was white white people for the most part. And I didn't really care about that. That had nothing to do with why I was there. I was there to get the meat. to see if they had any meat on sale. If I can get any deals on the meat, on the chicken in particular. Because I was a big chicken eater back then. Okay, so I go to King's, and I would just, like I said, I would walk in, and like this feeling of inferiority would come over me. And my mind, in my mind, there'd be all of these things playing out. Like, I wonder if they're thinking, why am I here? Like, what am I doing here? And the other thing I noticed about King's, it was like the air felt lighter. The air felt lighter. It wasn't this heaviness in the air. The energy in the store was just lighter. It's hard to explain, but it's just the energy in the store. And even though, like I said, I had all these negative, inferiority feelings when I went in there, or when I first started going in there, but I felt a shift in the energy, and it wasn't a bad shift. It was a good shift, actually. The vibration of the place was higher. It was just completely higher, if that makes any sense to anybody. Again, there was no heaviness in the air. And so, I would go there for the meat. But then, and you know how you don't know where this comes from. You don't know, nobody told you to do this. But there's something like instinctive in you that tells you to do a certain thing. And then you're like, why did I do that? Well, instinctively, I was led to, I would go to the produce department, and the apples and oranges were what, they just were on a whole nother level than the ones I was familiar with. And the price was also on another level, And so, my first instinctive thought was, I ain't buying nothing from here. But I recognized that was some poverty programming, and that if I was going to leave that level of consciousness, and I know this is getting deep, I was going to need to bring myself up to a higher level. If I was going to ever be able to afford those apples and oranges in that store, I needed to bring myself up to their vibrational level. Because those people will walk in the store, grab some apples and oranges, and not even think about it. And I'm just using the apples and oranges as an example, but it was everything in the store. It was expensive. And so what I would do when I would go into a King's, once I had this revelation, or whatever you want to call it, is I would go in the produce department. Okay, let's say I found some meat that was on sale. I would grab that, and then I would go in the produce department, and I would go and get one apple. One apple. That's it. Just one apple. Put it in my cart and check out. That's it. And the apple, I don't know how much it costs. Like I said, it was definitely more expensive than the apples that I was familiar with in, the lower income neighborhoods where I shopped. So every time I went there, I would just buy that one apple, and again, see if they had some meat on sale or anything else on sale. But the apple was significant because it was raising my vibration. I mean, I could afford an apple. That's what it was. I said to myself, even if the apples were $5.99 a pound, and you know, that would be very expensive for an apple. Like apples, you know, I think I actually got apples yesterday. I think they were $1.99 a pound. The ones I got, the, you know, delicious apples. Red delicious apples. Anyway, if the apples were $5.99 a pound and I purchased one, let's say, I don't know what that was, $2, I don't know, or $1, I could afford it. I could afford it. Now, granted, it was overpriced. That's so not the point. If you're sitting here listening to this thinking, yeah, but you shouldn't have to pay $5.99 for an apple, and I don't know if it was $5.99. It could have been $4.99 or $3.99 or whatever. But it was more than your average apple. It was probably twice as much more. But the point was, I recognized that I had a poverty mindset. And in order to get rid of that, I needed to purchase the apple, because what that did to me, every time I did this for a long time, every time I would go into King's, I would purchase that one apple. And it would say to me that I can afford to shop here. Look at me. Look at me. I got an apple. Now, meanwhile, again, I had the I would get the chicken or whatever, the meat. But the meat was on sale. Like, it was on, not clearance or whatever, but it was cheap. It was, marked down, and it was like the manager's, special or whatever. So that didn't really do anything for my psyche in terms of my belief, in what I could afford. But the apple was full price. And even though, like I said, I was just buying one, it helped me to shift my belief system and my mindset of that poverty consciousness. Because clearly, again, that apple that was more expensive, it was something about it that was different. It was, and you might not say it was worth it, but it was I could tell, like I said, just by the color of it. I mean, sure, it was red, just like apples are, but it had a freshness and I can't explain it, but it just had a whole nother level of, freshness and quality to it. I don't know if it was organic or what, but purchasing that one apple every day, or not every day, whenever I went to the King's, helped raise my consciousness. It helped me also feel that I belonged. I belonged in this store. I wasn't inferior to these people that were shopping there. I was just as worthy of shopping there as they were. Because look at me. I'm purchasing this apple and I can afford it. I don't have to check my bank account to see if I have enough to purchase this apple. I can afford it. And that, I'm telling you, that shifted my mindset on some level. And I went on from there to shopping at Whole Foods. And I know today everybody shops at Whole Foods. Like, Whole Foods is not, it's not everybody shop there. That's my point. It's not so prestigious or so whatever. If you need something that's organic or that's whatever, you're gonna go to Whole Foods to get it. Now you may not go there and get a shopping cart full of food from there. Like, I don't do that because I'm not paying, you know. But I will shop at Whole Foods and I'll walk in there like I own the place. I mean, again, this was 15 years later. I have a different level of consciousness about myself, about my worthiness. And I'm, you know, because I'm telling you, I would walk into King's like almost like this, and all these thoughts would go through my head. Are they thinking that I don't belong here? Are they thinking that, well, how did I get here? And what, you know, why am I here? I had all these crazy thoughts, and it was crazy. It was so crazy, but it was real. And I had to force myself to make myself believe that I belonged there and that I was worthy. And over time, I did it. And like I said, today, I go into Whole Foods. I get what I need. If there's something not on the shelf, I go up to the customer service. Excuse me. Where are your such and such? Do you have such and such? You know, like, I don't have any problem going in there and demanding what I need. Not demanding, I don't mean it like that, but just, you know how if you feel like when you go to a place you don't feel like you belong there, you're not gonna be someone that's like, you're not gonna be someone like causing any ruckus or causing any, you know, and not that I cause a ruckus, but I'm just saying that I just have a whole different level of confidence today. And if I were to go to like I said, I don't know if there are many Kings around, but that was my like training ground, I'll say. I don't know how else to phrase it. That was kind of like my training ground for changing my mindset about living in poverty. You know, because some of you might say, well, like, just because you got money don't mean you got to spend it, you know. And that wasn't the point of the whole message. The point was just, we have to raise our consciousness to be in alignment with the things that we want. Anyway, hopefully I made that clear. Have a great day. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Press the like button. And leave a comment below. Do you know what I'm talking about? Have you had any similar situations where you felt that you just instinctively needed to do something to raise your consciousness? Anyway, have a great day. Bye.